What's up, fam? It's Brian Castro, and I just got done watching the She-Hulk episode 1, and I didn't realize I was going to like this as much as I did. So we start off with Tatiana Maslany, who, of course, is She-Hulk attorney at law. She's talking to her colleagues in her office, practicing for her closing arguments for this upcoming big case that she has. Then she looks right into the camera like she's on an episode of The Office, which I absolutely love that they're doing that, and she tells us how she's a She-Hulk and begins her backstory. Then we see her and her cousin, Bruce Banner, of course played by Mark Ruffalo, driving down the road, only to have the spaceship coming right in front of them and create this big crash. They, of course, both get cut, and then Bruce Banner's blood bleeds into her cut, and this is how the gamma radiation is passed and she becomes a She-Hulk. And we see her go off to this bar in this real funny scene where she's all kind of dirty, disheveled and everything, and these group of girls come in, give them their phone, and get her. I was cracking up during the scene, but then she goes outside the bar, and we got a bunch of skeevy guys who are trying to hit on her and harass her, and that's where she first hooks up and beats them up. Now, fast forward to the next scene where we got Smart Hulk, Bruce Banner. Of course, he's Mark Ruffalo, and he's talking about how he has this lab and this bar, and it's kind of making me tear up. We see Iron Man's helmet, and Tony Stark is my favorite character in the MCU, so this is kind of making me sad. But we learned that he's been there for a while with him, and they were kind of training together, which, by the way, Kevin Feige, I need a series, a post-credit scene, something where we see Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. I just need to see those shenanigans. I think it'll be fantastic. But he's basically telling her how she became the Hulk. In a way, it's kind of similar to The Walking Dead. And speaking of The Walking Dead, we got some TWD family up in here, Steve Coulter, and it was really good to see him in there. And he then starts to train his cousin how, to control her temper and everything. And he's learning that she actually has better skills at this, and it's kind of frustrating. They end up getting in this big Hulk fight, which is fantastic. This whole scene was one of my favorite scenes in the MCU now. I'm absolutely loving the back and forth on this island. But fast forward to the final scene, and we got Tatiana Maslany. She's amazing as She-Hulk. Perfect casting in that. And then she's getting into this, and that's where we see Steve Coulter, of course. But then all of a sudden, the villain, who is played by Jamila Jamil, she plays Titania, and they get into this big fight, and then she ends up closing the deal and on the case, whatever. But what's important is what's coming next. So we get the post-credit scenes, and I love the artwork that they're doing there, but we see the post-credit scene with Bruce Banner and his cousin, the She-Hulk, and she's talking about America's ass, and she gets him to say that he did have sex on a USO tour, which is big because in the comics, of course, he had 2 children, James Rogers and Sarah Rogers, and if you know, because she is connected to Rogue, my favorite X-Men, one of them, and X-Men are coming.